It is not every day that you get to make over a boulder/campfire zone. So today I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I built a DIY hexagon bench and made over this campfire zone over here at Nowhere.
Number one, hi. Welcome to my channel. Number two, this is my dog Blaze. He just turned 1 a couple weeks ago and he is a big baby. Number three, we are back at Nowhere doing another makeover as I need to go to LA to grab some decking, and also I'm waiting for some furniture to come in. Thank you, sir. Also waiting for some furniture to come in for the trailer. So we are here doing a fire pit makeover, but the windstorm has decided to just blow us away. Rolling down. That being said, I was gonna make an excuse and turn this video into something else and just be like, oh my gosh, I cannot be out in the wind. But I'm currently looking at a team of about 10 guys getting ready to pour a second skate bowl here at Nowhere. So as I'm like staring at all these gentlemen figuring out how they're gonna pour this bowl, I'm gonna jump into doing this fire pit and stop making excuses because come on, who am I? Let's go.
The name of the game here is beefing up everything to match what is around it. So we removed the smaller rocks that were there where we had the fire before and replaced it with little mini boulders and kind of snug them together to make it look very intentional and to also control the fire a bit more. I also decided to use the trunks that were already there. We moved them around to start to create a base frame for the hexagon bench that I was going to build. And we just based the size off of what felt the most comfortable naturally when we scooted and moved them around. So that being said, to make a hexagon, you need to cut down the frame pieces where they meet at an angle at 30 degrees. So you're creating a 60-degree angle all the way around. I will totally be the first to admit that I am not the sharpest tool in the shed by any means. So when it comes to like measurements and measuring a bunch of times and cutting once, I definitely will measure a million times, cut a million times, and then learn from my mistakes probably towards the end of the project. And that's exactly what happened here, because right when we went to start to assemble, although my angles are correct, the space is a little bit wonky and not exact. So we opted to start to assemble the frame piece by piece as it fit each tree trunk, because those were going to be the legs of the bench that we were building. I am very grateful for Brig and his framing brain, because when I came over and realized that my pieces were way too long, instead of bringing them back up and cutting them down and cutting them wrong again, I just turned around and was like, can you please help? And he came up with a solution to start to slide the pieces together and the excess almost meet in between each bench frame, and we were able to add it as like an extra support. Just take a look at how the pieces are almost connecting when they're too long, and that's where you can see my mistake, but we just, turned it into a win, which was really lovely.
So you can't really tell until I point out, but that is actually their motorcycle track that goes around this way, and the jump actually is over here. So if you're sitting up here at sunset, which now can be an option, you'll see them jump off this way and take the turn and go back and around. It's like a little entertainment zone, the best TV you can get.
We decided to leave an opening for obvious reasons, like walking in and out of the fire pit, not having to walk over the bench, just everything with a little bit of ease. And now that we have the frame, we started to decide, like, are we going to spend the money on decking, teak? Are we wrapping it in cedar? What's happening? And we decided to just use as much reclaimed lumber from my property as possible, because it's better to use it than to waste it. So I ran over and grabbed some sheets of plywood from my place. Actually, Allie ran over and grabbed some sheets of plywood from my place that I was going to throw in the dumpster. And I grabbed that and started to wrap the bench with that, just to have a base and start to see what we wanted to do from there.
Hey, so I want to make this windproof. I want to make this bikini butt proof because, I mean, come on. So what we're going to do is upcycle some of the stuff that they were going to get rid of, because we are going to be upgrading some other areas here at Nowhere. And we're going to be using these old cushions for a cushion on every other bench and attaching them with screws and washers.
I mean, in theory, this was a great idea. We were going to reuse and recycle a ton, but the more that I added these lounge cushions and excess blankets that Nowhere had on hand, it just reminded me of things that I did before, where I kind of cut corners and did something a little bit more budget because I didn't want to go the extra step. So I just sat back on it for a second and let it sit there to see if I liked it, and moved on to drilling a hammock into place in between the two boulders, because why not? The more that I stepped back and looked at the hammock in between the two boulders, the more upset I got, because I just kind of felt like the hammock was so beautiful hung in between the boulders. You can like sit and have such an incredible moment, and then you kind of look over to the bench and it falls a little flat in my opinion, because it's just like, oh, let's throw some blankets over and tack it on and call it a day. And we're better than that.
listen, I know that I have complained about the weather a million times here on my channel, but this heat really can defeat you. And we're not even in the hottest months yet. And like I said before, sometimes I just don't feel like cooking, and I even more so don't feel like ever driving to go anywhere in this heat to get groceries to then think about a meal. HelloFresh says, I'll do you one better and I'll deliver it straight to your door so you don't have to think about it and save time.
HelloFresh recipes feature produce that goes from the farm to your front door in under a week, which means their spring menu features the season's freshest flavors. They provide step-by-step recipes that are super easy to follow. They actually inspired me to get into cooking, as well as pre-portioned ingredients that help you cut out the prep time so that you can have time to get outside this spring.
HelloFresh does not get in the way of a busy day. And like I said, just thinking about what to cook and going to get the items to cook just isn't in the cards right now. So being able to choose my items every single week online or on the app, or sometimes I just let them surprise me because I get a little picky and can be repetitive. I specifically love it because I've been having a ton of people over. So it's nice to kind of look at the crew and be like, what sounds good? These are the options, and then get straight to cooking.
If you guys want to join HelloFresh and check it out for yourself, you can go to HelloFresh.com and use my code METZ16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. You heard it right here, folks. You can go to HelloFresh.com and use code METZ16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. As always, HelloFresh, thank you so much for sponsoring today's episode. Let's jump back into this DIY. Like I said, we are better than that. So let's rip these blankets off and give it another go. I went over to my property and happened to have, honestly, the perfect amount and perfect colorway, in my opinion, lumber on hand. So I loaded that up into the truck, brought it over to nowhere, and started to get to work. All right, change of plans. Obviously, I ripped the blankets off, so we're gonna wrap it with reclaimed lumber from my property
In this type of pattern situation.
When it comes to geometric, like wood pattern, laying it down, for me, I always do best when I just lay it live, as I like to say. I have a couple of tutorials on here that walk you through a very detailed way to do it, but those are from years ago, so they're also very beginner power tool friendly that I will link for you down below. But for this bench in particular, Brig and I really just like threw it down and nailed it on in. We laid the wood on top with the excess overhang and came in with a chalk line, marked where we wanted to cut the excess down, and moved forward with grabbing a miter saw and having it close by to cut the smaller pieces to then cap the bench to add some extra detail and obviously just make it look like all one wood versus having that like frame exposed on the bottom. We did go ahead and spend some time, well, Jude spent some time sanding down this bench to make sure nobody's going to be getting splinters or to make it more booty friendly. But I mean, just take a look at the before and what we're doing now. Man, I didn't really realize that I had the building bug, and then to be able to build something like this with the people that I love and to step back and see how actually massive it is and what a difference it makes for the space. And all we had to do was purchase a couple of the 2x6s to create the frame. It's truly incredible, and this is exactly why I love DIY and building. For me personally, I just wanted to embrace what was already around in the desert. There really is no reason to decorate, also because this is just a crazy wind tunnel right here. So everything that you see sitting here is wind friendly. It's been up for a couple weeks now and nothing has been thrashed or moved or thrown. And I'm very excited about that. So when you are decorating, when you are building, always take into consideration where you live and the elements around. You don't want to just do it for Pinterest aesthetics. And I say like, don't do it for the Pinterest aesthetic, but then yet here we are with this makeover video. But I mean, I just absolutely love the power of DIY, because you don't have to do a hexagon bench like this, but you can reuse materials that are in front of you and wrap a bench no matter what size and whatever pattern and make it your own. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you very soon for another DIY.